right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Wet and windy. The big weather system heading our way as we head into the weekend.
Tonight, radioactive waste and real estate. After contamination reports around Jana Elementary, what happens to property values? But first tonight, support for the search.
Jana's taught me to be strong and not to focus on the negative in life.
A single father still missing after a paragliding crash.
I'm just living in hope, hoping there could be a miracle.
Tonight, hundreds turned out for an O'Fallon, Missouri man 1 week after he disappeared while paragliding. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. Our Robert Townsend was at tonight's vigil in James Rennick Riverfront Park in Washington, Missouri, where Kenny Loudermilk was last seen crashing into the Missouri River 1 week ago.
On a perfect autumn evening, they filled this park in Washington, Missouri. Easily 200 family members, friends, and co-workers showed up for one special guy.
He showed his love through a lot of humor.
Kenny Loudermilk was a son, a brother, and 15-year-old Kylie's dad.
He's a great dad, and we go on adventures together, and he loves to surprise me.
Last Wednesday, Kenny ventured out to do what he's enjoyed for nearly 6 years, paragliding over the Missouri River.
I talked to him right before he flew on Wednesday, and I called him on the phone, and I told him to enjoy his flight.
He was very excited. He told me he loved me, and my last memory of him is flying over my truck and waving at me and watching him go into the sky.
But something went wrong. Witnesses told the Missouri State Highway Patrol the 35-year-old paraglider suddenly crashed into the river near Route 47. He hasn't been seen since. Troopers have searched this river ever since Kenny disappeared, but to no avail. Still, Loudermilk's loved ones aren't giving up. Amid all their questions, tears, and fears, Loudermilk's loved ones and co-workers from Jarrell Mechanical Contractors used this vigil to comfort Kenny's parents and only child. They also lit candles and tossed flowers into the river for Kenny.
It's a name of endearment and will live on forever.
I'm just living in hope, hoping there could be a miracle.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tomorrow, teams with the Missouri State Highway Patrol will resume their search.
Tonight, an hours-long standoff in South St. Louis is over. The suspect is in police custody. This all started around 11 this morning on Phillips Place in Tower Grove South. A woman was shot in the ankle. The woman's mother says the suspected shooter is her neighbor, and they've had problems with each other in the past. Tonight, police are investigating a deadly car crash in North St. Louis County. Just 2 hours ago, we learned the victim was a teenager. The crash happened just before 4 this afternoon on Halls Ferry Road near St. Cyr Road. Police say the teen turned into oncoming traffic and was hit by another car. That driver left the scene. They are still looking for the driver right now.
New tonight, 5 on your side has learned Pam Hupp's high-profile murder trial has been moved out of Lincoln County. Both prosecutors and the defense agreed to move the trial from Lincoln County to Springfield and Greene County. Hupp is accused of murdering her friend Betsy Faria in 2011. Faria's husband was convicted of his wife's murder. That conviction was later overturned. Last year, Lincoln County prosecutor Mike Wood charged Hupp with Betsy Faria's murder, accusing her of framing Russ Faria for the crime.
A couple accused of killing 2 people in the St. Louis area will spend the rest of their life behind bars after pleading guilty to 2 murders in South Carolina. Today, Tyler Terry and Adrian Simpson entered their pleas in court. The couple is connected to at least 4 homicides in 2 states, including the shooting deaths of Barbara Goodkin in University City and Sergei Zakharev in Brentwood.
While it's definitely providing some degree of relief, knowing that these individuals started to plead guilty to the other murders, believe that the families would want the closure.
Both Terry and Simpson will be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Officials from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers were back out at Jana Elementary School today to test the soil for radioactive contamination. Samples were taken from inside the school last week. Last night, Hazelwood school officials approved a plan to split up students and staff into 5 other schools starting November 28th. Tonight, concerns are also growing whether or not contamination from nearby Coldwater Creek will impact property values.
Now there are concerns realtors will have a hard time recruiting people to move into that area. Our Brent Solomon is in North St. Louis County with a closer look.
We all know some of the factors that can impact your home's property value: the size of the land, the condition of your home, and of course, the location. Since there are neighborhoods around the Coldwater Creek, you can understand Glenn Smith's concerns.
Just concerned about the effects of what they found and, kind of want to know the truth.
He bought his home near Jana Elementary a couple of years ago. With reports of radioactive contamination nearby, he and some of his neighbors have questions.
I think anybody that has property over here, they should be asking questions.
We took them to St. Louis realtor Kristen Malva.
I believe real estate in general will take a dive whenever there is a crisis happening in a certain area.
Still, she says at this point in time, she would not turn down an opportunity to sell a home near the creek or to recruit home buyers to come here.
I've never heard someone say, find me a house, but make sure it's not near the Coldwater Creek. I wouldn't say, oh, we have to price it lower because of this. People are still buying North County and everywhere the Coldwater Creek is.
But in an already tough housing market, is the contamination controversy adding fuel to the fire?
And I understand rates are high and people are freaking out and whatnot. The market is still rising year after year.
She says it's all about perspective. Meantime, homeowners like Smith are waiting to see what happens here, hoping they won't be negatively impacted.
For a lot of people over here, I would assume it's very concerning.
In North St. Louis County, Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
5 on Your Side reached out to several appraisal companies to weigh in on this report. The companies we spoke with said this is an issue they are staying away from.
New developments tonight about contamination concerns with drinking water in the city of St. Charles. The public will now get more time to comment. Our Laura Barczewski joins us now, and Laura reports that window was supposed to expire tomorrow.
It was, Mike. The public comment period now regarding the contamination issues at the Elm Point well field has been extended to December 5th. The city and clean water advocates are calling on more residents to speak up.
It's a little disappointing that it took until the last week for this to occur, and it took the public outcry and political officials to get this to be extended. But we are thankful that it is being extended, and we're not done yet.
The city of St. Charles says they've had to shut down 4 of 7 wells in the Elm Point well field that provide drinking water to residents due to contamination, which they say came from a hazardous Superfund site and Ameren Missouri's Huster substation. Ameren says they've already completed cleanup, called for more testing and investigation to identify where exactly the chemicals are coming from.
The biggest thing is the city's saying the water is safe currently, but if these wells that are being contaminated, more of them get contaminated down the line, that means we're going to have a huge burden financially that's going to be passed on to us as the end consumers.
The issue has residents concerned, and as a result, residents started the City of St. Charles Clean Water Advocates Group to get even more people writing letters to the EPA and Department of Justice.
At this point, getting the citizens involved to push the case towards the EPA, and the EPA is going to then hold the foot to the fire, so to say, of the government to make sure that the full legal process is handled to ensure that the people who caused the contamination are going to pay for it.
St. Charles Public Works Director Nick Gala says comments from residents are very important.
No matter who you are or how educated you are on the topic, it's still important that your voice is heard. When it closes, that comment period's over. They don't need to respond to you anymore. If you get your comments in now, the EPA is required to submit a response back to you.
The city says it also wants to see several public meetings held on the issue, and the city is hoping to hear more on that by the end of the week. Ann?
Tonight, we're just 6 days away from the midterm elections. The control of Congress is at stake. Some believe a Republican takeover is inevitable. Our Verified team looks into how often the balance of power changes.
Verify here with your election fast fact. Right now, Democrats control the House, Senate, and White House. But the House and Senate are up for grabs during this midterm election. So how often does the president's party lose control of a chamber of Congress during the midterms? Historically, not as often as you might think. We looked at every midterm in American history, and the president's party lost either the House or Senate in just over a third of them. But it has become a lot more common recently. We've seen such losses in the last 4 midterms in a row.
What can I verify for you? Send an email, verify@ksdk.com. As part of our mission to stand up for St. Louis, we want you to exercise your right to vote. We've put together a comprehensive voter guide on the candidates and issues on both sides of the river. There's also information on early voting, election day hours, and requirements. Text the word GUIDE to 314-425-5355, and we'll send you a link to everything. Join us on election night for expanded results, reaction, and analysis. Our coverage will begin as soon as the polls close at 7 p.m. on 5+, that's our app, and on KSDK.com. Then join us for an expanded edition of 5 on Your Side at 10.
Well, tonight, more than $1 billion is up for grabs. The Powerball jackpot has grown to $1.2 billion, and tonight's numbers were drawn just minutes ago. So here they are: 2, 11, 22, 35, 60, and the Powerball is 23.
A heartbreaking call for help.
Send help from my teachers are still alive, but they're shot.
Tonight, the pleas of a 10-year-old Uvalde girl trapped in her classroom with a school shooter.
We look for the best price we can get. It could be just a penny.
Schools getting a lesson in inflation, the way districts are stretching your tax dollars to make ends meet.
Warm air hangs around through the end of the week, but this weather system's going to make some big changes in time for the weekend. Why? It's not all bad news.
Hurry, Toy, please hurry. There's a lot of dead bodies.
Chilling new audio tonight of a 10-year-old girl's call to 911 as she took cover during the Uvalde school shooting. Chloe Torres survived that attack, but 19 classmates and 2 teachers did not.
The dispatcher could hear the sounds of shooting victims crying out in pain. We do want to warn you, you may find this audio disturbing.
I'm gonna tell you everybody to cover their mouth. Nobody's listening to me. I know how to handle these situations. My dad taught me when I was a little girl. Send help. One of my teachers are still alive, but they're shot.
Less than 2 minutes into her call, the dispatcher sent an urgent message to police already on the scene.
320, go ahead with that child's information relay.
Officer, the child is advising he is in the room full of victims at this moment.
If active shooter protocol was followed, officers would have breached the classroom. Nearly 40 minutes would pass before officers broke down that classroom door to end the situation.
The Parkland school shooter will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. A Florida judge handed down that sentence today. Last month, a jury spared him from the death penalty. 17 people were killed in the 2018 attack.
Borrowing money is now costing you even more. Today, the Federal Reserve raised a key short-term rate by 0.75% in an attempt to tame the 40-year high inflation. It's the 4th straight big increase by the central bank, and the Fed says it's not the last. Inflation, it has made the cost of food skyrocket.
There's no better evidence than what's happening in our schools. And tonight, Michelle Lee reports on how it's impacting families trying to make ends meet.
If the kitchen's the heart of the home, then the cafeteria is the heart of the school.
The heart of schools, the heart of communities, are getting hard lessons in inflation here in the Melville School District and beyond.
We did have to raise meal prices this school year. Every school district across the country had to. They are taking more carrots and celery when you're packing it like this.
Katie Gegg is in charge of food and nutrition, and as a parent herself, she says the last 2 years were helpful with federal pandemic aid paying for lunches. But now so many families are struggling to make ends meet as prices continue to skyrocket, from paper products to the cost of food. The price for a dozen eggs at the grocery store might have cost you $1.50 in January. Now try $4 and up. Avian flu, labor shortages, and more add to the cost of highly sought chicken and byproducts, leaving schools paying up to 80% more.
We had to go from $5 a dozen to $8 a dozen, and that's 90% of that is fuel prices.
And let's talk about fuel.
Last year was, say, $2.25 a gallon for us. It's 7,500 gallons. And now we're paying almost $4.50 a gallon.
Dan Gilman heads transportation at Melville, and this year hasn't exactly been a smooth ride.
We look for the best price we can get. It could be just a penny, but when you're dealing with 7,500 gallons, a penny adds up.
It's a sign of the times. Schools can hold off big increases for now, but it comes with a price, like much needed upgrades or work.
At the end of the school year, it might be stepping away from a couple of those projects.
The worst part about this is if it goes up. If it remains the same or goes down would be ideal, and then work on some of the supply shortages that we're experiencing.
Yeah, like it feels like you're already at the brink, right? Like you don't need to go past
We're
that.
good where we're at. It just, if it starts going down, it'd be a definite bonus.
Inflation impacts just about everything. School meals are often planned several weeks or even months in advance, so there's just a lot of adjusting based on prices and available ingredients. And then labor shortages, of course, are still an issue across the board. In Melville, there are lots of openings, including a big need for bus drivers. Back to you.
This year's Thanksgiving dinner is going to take more stuffing out of your wallet. A market research firm says all the turkey and trimmings will cost you 13% more than last year. The biggest increases are with pies and side dishes. Around 38% of consumers surveyed say they plan on buying the same amount of food even with the higher costs. Dining out for your turkey dinner is expected to cost you about 6% more.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joining us now with the Weather First forecast. Got to enjoy this nice stretch while we can.
Yeah, and you know, there are changes coming. And you've probably noticed the leaves have been falling off the trees rather quickly here in the last few days. There's a big windstorm coming, if you will, as we head towards Friday night into Saturday morning early. That'll take some of our leaves and send them up towards the Quad Cities. It'll be that strong. Temperatures dropping through the 60s this evening, mainly clear conditions. We had another warm afternoon, unusually so, around the St. Louis area, with temperatures soaring back into the 70s. 77 was our high. Average high this time of year, 62. We're still above that at 10 o'clock tonight. 66 degrees now. The dew point is 43. No rain today. We don't have any rain on the way tomorrow. I think we're getting through the day on Friday just fine, too. We'll talk about a mainly clear sky overnight. Temperatures dropping into the upper 40s to mid 50s. A lot of that determined by the breeze across the area tonight. Now, as we go through the next few days, there are changes happening. This late week, we will see strong winds as we head into Friday afternoon, Friday night, into early Saturday. The rain should hold off until most likely after the high school football games Friday night, unless you're a little farther west or southwest of St. Louis, and it's going to end early on Saturday morning. What's bringing it? You can just see the jet stream here taking the big dip out to our west. This is a huge drop in the jet stream. There's a lot of energy coming in from the Pacific. That is producing rain and snow out across the west. That system is pushing to the east, and it's our weather maker heading into the first part of the weekend. No problems for your Thursday. The winds do get a little gusty tomorrow afternoon, maybe about 25 miles per hour or so on some of those top gusts. But we're talking 30, 35, maybe 40-mile-per-hour winds by later Friday into Friday night. Here's the rain lining up about kickoff time for those high school football playoff games. Again, it's in western Missouri down into Arkansas. Severe weather threat, more confined to this area south of the Missouri-Arkansas border down towards Dallas. We will have some pockets of heavy rain. There'll be gusty winds, but most of the moisture slides through St. Louis as we head through the overnight and very early morning hours on Saturday. By Saturday afternoon, skies have cleared out, temperatures are a lot cooler, and there's still a breeze. We'll also start to dry out after seeing a half an inch to as much as an inch and a half of rain, all depending on where those heavier showers and potentially rumbles of thunder track. So a lot of winds. If you've got stuff still outside on the patio, maybe out on the deck, and it would be susceptible to a stiff breeze, you might want to go ahead over the next couple of days and get that stuff secured, bring it inside. We're talking about that gusty wind really picking up Friday afternoon and especially Friday night into early Saturday. Now, Saturday afternoon into Sunday, it's dry, and while it will be cool Saturday afternoon, Sunday we're close to 70, and as we head to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we are again well above average in the lower 70s. We're setting the clocks back an hour on Sunday night, so we get the bonus hour of sleep. Also means our sunset will happen just before 5 o'clock instead of around 6 o'clock. And Election Day weather looks absolutely fantastic.
That's good news. All right, Scott, thanks very much. Frank is here with sports.
Mizzou football is about to make a very good hire. Curtis Francois is talking NASCAR, and why in the world do colleges who break rules get to determine their own penalty? Stick around. I don't know if the Blues have ever played a more important 9th game of the season. Tomorrow they host the Islanders. Somehow, some way, they're going to have to stop the bleeding. This is the last time the Blues won a game nearly 2 weeks ago. It's only been 5 games, but it seems much longer. They have had 2 days of practice, and they've heard from the general manager, Doug Armstrong. They're confident of a turnaround.
We know what kind of team we are. It's just about, sticking together and, fighting for each other. And I think that's the main thing. Like I was saying earlier, it happens a lot, throughout a year. There's going to be times like this, and, that's when, the team can either fall apart or come together. And we've came together so many times, and I expect us to do the same.
I expect Mizzou's defense to be good on Saturday against Kentucky. They have been all season. They're ranked 3rd in the SEC. And sometime tomorrow, expect Mizzou to extend the contract of defensive coordinator Blake Baker. Now, I don't know what to expect from Mizzou basketball. They have 12 new players and a new coach named Dennis Gates. They open up Monday night against Southern Indiana. Their schedule is softer than a marshmallow, and that's actually a good idea with a new team. Today, Kobe Brown was named a preseason first-team All-SEC selection.
Preseason accolades is something that has to come with, you got to back those words up. And what I'm excited about is to coach a guy who is such a great leader. He's an unbelievable ambassador to the program, but also I get to develop him and push him even further beyond his goals.
Tonight, Game 4 of the World Series in Philadelphia, and the Astros are doing a number on the Phillies. Starter Christian Javier no-hit the Phils for 6 innings. The Phillies are without a hit in the 9th. Houston leads it 5-0. NASCAR had a heart-stopping moment last Sunday. Ross Chastain's mad dash to make the Final Four. It was unbelievable. Now, this Sunday in Phoenix, on 5 on your side, you will see the championship. This NASCAR season is wow.
I think 2022 will go down as the greatest year of racing in NASCAR history. You started with the Coliseum, sold out. Our race here in St. Louis, sold out. Next race to the end of the year, best race of the year without a doubt.
Sports Plus on Sunday night after the Chiefs beat the Titans. It will all be about the Chiefs. We go one-on-one with Trent Green. We look back at Hank Stram, and Corey Miller will be filing a report from the game on that incredible Arrowhead experience. Finally tonight, a word about the Kansas basketball program. The NCAA has accused the school of 5 Level 1 violations tied to its association with Adidas. Basically, KU used the shoe company to get players. So you know what Kansas did? They imposed their own sanctions. They committed the crime, and they will determine the time. Imagine if life worked like that. Honey, I know I forgot our 20th anniversary, so I'm going to punish myself by not eating cake tonight at all. Officer, I know I was going 100 in a 45 zone, but don't worry, I'm going to sanction myself. I will turn off the radio on the way home. So what did Kansas come up with? Bill Self and an assistant won't coach in the first 4 games. 3 of them are against Omaha, North Dakota State, and Southern Utah. And there are a few recruiting restrictions also. So how severe can you get? Self said he accepted and supports these sanctions. Wow, so gracious of you, Bill. This investigation has been going on for 5 years. They cheated, they won a national title, and now they slap themselves on the wrist. Life doesn't work this way, but it does in Lawrence, Kansas. And that will do it in sports.
The new normal could already be becoming a thing of the past. Tonight, the fewer opportunities to work from home. Tonight, a push to ban TikTok in the U.S. It comes amid an ongoing review into the popular social media app's connection to the Chinese government. A FCC commissioner warns there's no way to protect a user's personal data. TikTok has not responded.
Employers are beginning to scale back on working from home. LinkedIn says remote job listings have dropped by 5 percentage points since peaking at 20% in April, but it's still much higher than it was before the pandemic.
Starbucks' popular holiday cups return tomorrow. The annual tradition, how long do you think it's been going on, Mike?
Well, it says in the prompter 25 years.
25 years. I can't trick you. This year, there are 4 new festive designs. No new holiday flavors are being added to the drink menu, though. Starbucks is adding a new chocolate pistachio swirl roll.
It said it right there.
I know. I should. 25 years, though. That seems like a long time.
Yeah, there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Tonight, George Lopez and Cole Hauser. Start your day one today in St. Louis and have a great tomorrow.